Pregame.com.
Welcome back to pregame.tv. NFL action Sunday. We've got the Indianapolis Colts traveling to play Kansas City. This is going to be Bryan Leonard's free pick. Guys, you look at this one, and for Indianapolis, they're locked in. They got the division. They really can't advance themselves into the 1 or 2 seed. So it's a meaningless game for them for the most part. But Kansas City, obviously, looked like the final 2 weeks of the season was going to be meaningless for them. They were going to be locked into the wild card and have that number 2, have the best wild card seed. But all of a sudden, last Thursday night, Broncos stubbed their toe at home against the Chargers, and here we are. Kansas City's knotted with Denver, but of course Denver owns the tiebreaker, so Denver's got to lose another one, and Kansas City's got to win out for them to leapfrog and win the division. How do you guys, I'll start with you, Ken. You're a big Indianapolis fan. Do they revert back to the old days of Tony Dungy? It used to be, we got it locked up, we got nothing to, prove. Let's not get hurt. Let's get ready for the playoffs.
Here's the thing. First off, a lot of folks out here may have the Colts as an over win total. I was fortunate I got that early at 8.5. A lot of people got 9, so they need one more W by the Colts. Unfortunately, Cleveland, where I thought I was going to get my 6, I'm not going to even get that. And it closed at 6.5. But I'll take my my win with the Colts already. Again, they play well at home now. They struggled at home early against the Raiders and the Dolphins, and the Rams kicked their butt. But they're focused at home. Why? Because they are not playing well on the road. And it was evident in Arizona, where, of course, the Cardinals play their best ball. But right now, the Colts are going up against teams that need wins and that are home, and so it's like a double whammy against the Colts. And I think they're in a lot of trouble here. Again, like you said, KC now finds himself battling Denver and possibly battling everybody in the AFC for supremacy, possibly the number 1 seed. So if they take care of business and somehow Denver stubs their toe, KC wins out this game and then at San Diego. I mean, not an easy chore, but this KC team is clicking on all cylinders offensively. Andy Reid's opened it up. He knows Alex Smith can take care of business. And, boy, this team's got a lot of confidence. And it was easy. Just give it a little pitch and catch to Jamal Charles. He doesn't need to rush for 120 when he's going to receive for 195. Yeah,
incredible game with 5 touchdowns last week, a fantasy player's dream. But, I look at Kansas City and, I do a radio show each week that they always want to preview the Kansas City Chiefs. The host is a big Chiefs fan. And beginning of the season, they were doing it with smoke and mirrors. I mean, they were getting outgained every week. They were winning with turnovers, but they were winning. But they were beating the teams put in front of them. Mm-hmm. Even though it was a soft schedule, you still got to take care of business, and they were doing it. The last 2 weeks, Washington and Oakland, they put up 45 and 56 points. I'm almost concerned now, and I don't know which way you're going to go, Brian, but because of the last 2 games and the big scores that they won by, and now all of a sudden, and we talked about this on your radio show Monday night, Ken, when we were at Lugazi Stadium, must win. I hate to hear that phrase when everybody puts it out there, because must win to me means you must pay a tariff if you want to bet that team, because everybody knows that. And I think Kansas City right now, they're at their highest point price-wise that they've been all year.
Well, you talked about winning with smoke and mirrors earlier, and that was from a stats standpoint. We saw the same thing out of Houston. Everybody thought, well, Houston's outgaining everybody, yards per play, the whole thing. No, this is just a team in Houston that just doesn't know how to win. They find ways to lose. Kansas City has been able to find ways to win. You go over the last 4 weeks, they're averaging 42 points a game. Now, granted, they're playing some weak opposition, but 42 points a game in the NFL is pretty impressive. They've been opening up the offense, finding different ways to move the ball downfield, and that defense is just as good as it was earlier in the season.
Mark, I'll tell you what, there's 3 teams in the NFL, not top-tier teams like Seattle and San Francisco, that earlier in the year you probably were hesitant to lay more than 3 when they were at home. But these 3 teams now, they've developed such a great home dichotomy that you look at them, if it's less than a touchdown like this 6.5, I'm on them automatically. And that's Kansas City, Arizona, and Cincinnati, those 3 teams.
All right, I can't argue with you on that. You know what, Brian, this is your free pick. Let's go ahead and make it official.
All right, I'm going to lay it here with the Kansas City Chiefs. Part of the reason is they're playing the Colts. We talked about the Colts situation. But the Colts got a lot of credit earlier in the season. They got the big wins early in the season against very good football teams, San Francisco, Seattle, Denver. But since they played Denver, the only wins for the Colts have come against Tennessee and Houston, beat both those opponents twice. In fact, other than the 3 games we talked about where they really played well early in the season, with the wide receiver, by the way, ever since then, the only wins they've had have come against 4-10 Oakland, 4-10 Jacksonville, 2-12 Houston, 5-9 Tennessee. I have not been overly impressed by the Colts. This is a team that has not played well. Maybe it's just one of those situations where they had that division pretty much sewed up earlier in the season and went through the motions. We'll find out once they get to the playoffs. There may be some value on them at that point if they're healthy. We'll see. But like I said, this Kansas City team, 42 points per game the last 4 games. You've got a team that runs the ball well. You've got a team that plays very good defense. You know, Marco came out and it took a little bad ribbing because he thought Cincinnati was one of those teams that had some value for the Super Bowl, and of course they laid an egg in Pittsburgh. Kansas City's built very similar to Cincinnati Bengals, a team that runs the ball well, plays good defense. They've got like a managing type of quarterback. Sometimes, you know, he makes mistakes, but for the most part, Smith's been very good all season long. I happen to think Kansas City has a very good chance here in the playoffs, and as Marco pointed out with the Denver situation, who knows? They may end up posting that.
Could be. Great stuff from Bryan, as always, and obviously the Indianapolis Colts, not the same team since Reggie Wayne went out.
I knew Bryan told me to wear the red shirt for a reason now.
There you go.
Good job.
Good job, Grinch.
I didn't tell you to wear the Grinch hat.
All right, guys, we've got one more NFL game we're going to take a look at. That's going to be my free pick. Did I really go to this game? The New York Giants, the Detroit Lions. Oh, God. All right, that's up next.
Hey,
Pregame.tv.
He hit his game of the year, Jacksonville, Buffalo, so anything's possible with Marco D'Angelo.
That's next. Pregame.tv.